Yo, what's up, guys? We're back for another breakdown and predictions video. This week we got Noche UFC. This is the third Noche that the UFC has done for Mexican Independence Day, and really good main event. Pretty fun card throughout. Let's get into it, man. First fight of the night, Rodrigo Cezinando. He's taking on Danil Donchenko, and hard fight to be confident in right off the bat as a prediction, in my opinion. These guys were on The Ultimate Fighter more recently. This is the Ultimate Fighter finale. They were supposed to fight a couple weeks ago, but Rodrigo pulled out due to an injury, and I guess it couldn't have been that severe because they're coming back pretty quickly to finish what they haven't done. But obviously, that's a little concerning because it hasn't been that long since he was unable to compete. So I would say Donchenko being the favorite is probably correct. You look at these guys' styles. Rodrigo seems like he's just a little bit less refined. He has good wrestling. He's a Novo Uniao guy. He likes to just kind of be intense, press forward, throw some big punches, take damage to give damage, and then really try to grind you against a fence, take you down, make the fight kind of boring, slow the pace, and just grind you out. With Donchenko, we got a much better striker, more dangerous, better weapons. He throws nice combinations, good blitzes, aggressive, has pretty solid power, throws nice kicks and punches. But he can get a little wild. I am a little worried about him getting controlled. He does seem fairly good at scrambling. He's not a zero on the mat, so that's why I do kind of lean Donchenko as a prediction. But I would just pass this fight. I don't really think either guy has done enough to warrant putting your money on them. And it's a volatile matchup. And on top of that, if you bet Donchenko and Cezinando wins, it's probably going to be an extremely boring and hard fight to watch to kick off the card. So don't put yourself through that. But first fight now, we got Montserrat Rendon. She's taking on Elise Pereira. And it's going to be at 135 pounds. Pereira's only the second female fighter to debut as a teenager in the UFC. She's the youngest as well. Both her and Chan Mi Jeong were 19, but Elise is a little younger. And Jeong, she fought JJ Aldridge. She lost a decision. So if Pereira wins, she will be the only female fighter to win a fight in the UFC before she turns 20. And with fighters who have amazing pedigrees being forced into contender series, it's a little strange to see Pereira at this age with a padded record get signed, but they must see some star potential in her. And so far, she has 5 wins. None have been against good competition. 2 of her wins have even been flagged for being potential illegitimate. One of those wins was taken off of her official Tapology record. And her last win over a 12-8-1 fighter was her best win to date. And in contrast to Elise Pereira, we have one of the oldest female fighters in the UFC, Montserrat Rendon, who's 36 years old. She's 1-1 in 2 UFC fights so far, 6-1 overall in her fight career. And she hasn't fought in over a year. She's coming back from an injury, and she's also returning after the first setback of her career when she lost her fight the last time she jumped in the octagon. So she has to bounce back, but Elise Pereira, crazy athleticism. She's very tall, long, and lanky, very fast, good 1-2s, 3-2s. She's loose, she's light on her feet. She's low volume. She does tend to kind of pick her moments and sparingly explode, but she's sharp. She'll tag you with 1-2 strikes, pot shot you, stay at her range. If you could actually get into boxing range, Pereira is a little hittable, but we haven't seen her fight someone that has an effective pressure style yet. Her style is very boxing heavy, Pereira, and she does load up and get wild, but her speed and power are impressive, and then her length lets her get away with mistakes. All of the fights I saw, she was fighting really short girls who she was way taller than, and Rendon's actually 5'8", so in this fight, it's not going to be as easy to just pot shot, but being 5'10", Pereira, I think besides Macy Chasen, is the second tallest fighter for females in the UFC. So if you can't figure out how to cut the cage off, Pereira is just going to pick you apart. You could tell she has good whip, good power on her punches, and she has some knockout wins. But the girls that she's fought and she's finished with strikes are really low level. It does look like she can crack, but it's hard to really know exactly how good she is. And her last fight, she showed more wrestling. She was able to pressure her opponent to the fence. She body locked her. On top, she didn't really do a lot. She struggled to pass the guard, kind of just laid on top of her opponent. But at least it showed that she can mix it up. At this current moment, she's either been able to kind of snipe, land a knockout on her opponent, or just use her length, barely get touched, and win the fight. So she's shown she can move for 3 rounds, even though she got a little tired. But she hasn't really had to face a lot of adversity. So I think you have to make it a hard fight, test Pereira's mettle. If you allow her to have a pretty fight, use her length, speed, power, she's more than likely going to beat you. You have to bring durability, walk through some shots, try to push her cardio, get in her chest, throw punches, throw leg kicks, mix in clinches, takedowns if you can, and see if you can make Pereira quit. She is still only a 19-year-old, but Montserrat Rendon, she's fought in the UFC twice already. On top of that, she's fought in good promotions before joining the UFC. She's also fought some really tall and lengthy fighters in the past, so it isn't the first time she's seen someone who's taller than her. She fought Brittany Cloudy, who's pretty similar to Pereira. I don't think as good, but Rendon was able to beat her. And Rendon's not fast. She's going to be slower than her opponent, but she hits hard. She keeps her hands high. She has subtle head movement. She's going to need to use a little bit better defense, but her durability for the most part, effective pressure, kind of try to stay defensive early, find her times to clinch, try to get her uncomfortable, and then take over or steal a close decision. If Rendon can get on top, her jiu-jitsu should be way superior. And her last fight, she did get some body locks. She got some takedowns. If she could do that here, I could see her potentially breaking Pereira, getting her really tired. And Rendon, she's a built-up, strong Mexican fighter, pretty defensively sound. So I don't think she's just going to be an easy knockout like some of these other Pereira opponents. And Pereira's going to have to earn this victory. And you look at Elise Pereira, she's a blue chip prospect, but Rendon, hard fight, and I'm going to go with the veteran. Pereira's going to be way faster, she's sharper, but Rendon's tricky, she has heavy hands, she's hard to hit, she's going to use pressure footwork. I think she's going to wait out Pereira's big wild strikes and then clinch, get it to the ground. From there, she could start to break Pereira. Rendon hasn't fought in a while, so that's a little concerning, but she has far more experience versus better opponents. I think she can use that to win here versus Pereira, who's never had a hard fight. So, Montserrat Rendon via decision is the pick in that matchup. And the next fight we got on the card, we got Alessandro Costa making his return after over a year away, taking on Alden Carrera. And Costa's kind of been up and down so far in the UFC. He's fought really good competition, and he came into the UFC, he was already 12-2. He had multiple title defense promotions under his belt and another fight promotion. So the UFC threw him to the wolves right away, and he debuted against Amir Albazi. Albazi knocked him out. He was able to come back, Costa, and he got finished over Jimmy Flick, but then he got moved up once again to the top of the division, fought Steve Erceg, and he lost that fight. It was competitive, but he just wasn't able to do the damage that Erceg did. And then once again, his last fight, he took a step down. He fought Kevin Borjas, and he got the second round finish. He had a fight last September versus Matt Schnell, and he suffered a shoulder injury. He had to pull out, and that must have been pretty significant because he hasn't fought since then. But he was expecting to fight Edgar Chairez here, and now Chairez has pulled out. He's taking on Costa, and he starts to stay locked in because Alden Correa, not Costa, has been one of the best prospects out of Texas for years now. 27 years old. His first amateur fight was at 18, so he's had almost 10 years experience. And he became a 2-promotion champion as an amateur. He won the Fury FC amateur title and went pro in 2019. Started out 5-0. He had a setback in 2022. He went 0-2, but since then he's gone 7-0, and he should be the Fury FC flyweight champion. But he knocked out Paris Moran in January, won the title on the night, but subsequently failed a post-fight drug test for weed, and fight got turned into a no contest. The belt got stripped. He came back in May, though. He got a knockout win. He fought an overmatched opponent. He was going to fight Nick Piccanini, who we saw in Contender Series a couple times, but Piccanini pulled out, and he had to fight a journeyman replacement fighter. But, I mean, you look at Correa, he should be on a 7-fight win streak right now, so he's going to have some confidence and momentum entering this fight. And Correa, style-wise, he's technical. On the feet, he's long, lanky, looks to pot shot. He counters hard. Really good boxing, good jab, good check hook, nice leg kicks. He'll shoot 1-2s, 3-2s, 2-1s, and when fighters try to pressure, he will sit down and counter with hard punches or elbows. Good job keeping his hands in the right position. He shoulder roll strikes well. He's very cool, confident, collected in the pocket. He picks his shots accurately. And sometimes he kind of will just touch with the hands, and it gives fighters the confidence to walk him down. I think he needs to put a little more oomph on his punches sometimes, but recently he's been getting some nice knockouts, and he's a brave fighter. He stays right in the pocket. He's ready to pull counter. His timing is on point. He can get clipped sometimes, but he's never been knocked out. His takedown defense is good, and he makes fighters pay for trying to take him down. He'll throw uppercuts, knees. He'll land elbows off the break. His fight IQ is also on point. In his fight where he fought that guy who was 4-7 last time, that person was just throwing really wild power shots. So Correa timed takedowns. He took him down and ended up finishing him on the ground. And he has 4 submission wins, 4 knockout wins. His cardio looks good. The negatives with Correa's style is he is there to be hit, especially to the body. He also doesn't check leg kicks. It seems like he might not have the greatest power, although he's put his fair share of guys out. Just like when he was fighting Albert Trujillo, for instance. Trujillo just didn't seem that affected by his shots, and the pressure and the optics probably won Trujillo that decision. In this fight, Correa, I think, needs to use feints. He needs to try to draw out Costa, ready to catch him as he comes in. And he has to figure out how to deal with the low kick somehow. And just use patience. Try to use his blitzes, but really counter hard when Correa comes forward. Try to really draw him out and implement the same game plan Steve Erceg did on the feet versus Costa. But for Alessandro Costa, short, compact, powerful flyweight, he likes to hang back. He'll chop calf kicks, which I think are going to be available here. He has 2 finishes in the UFC pretty much with calf kicks. And he mainly draws fighters in, and then he likes to counter with blitzes. Costa's body hooks, his leg kicks, I think are what he's going to use here. Landing head strikes on Correa probably will not be that easy, but I think he could wear him down and then start to get to him. But Costa got dropped with a 2-1 against Amir Albazi, then knocked out with an uppercut. He got rocked by Steve Erceg, too, a few times. So his chin is a little suspect. If you can touch him clean, you could hurt him. And I think in this fight, I mean, when he gets wide, that's when Correa can come up with straights, knees, maybe an intercepting elbow. So Costa just needs to be patient, chop the legs here, and not open up and get wild. But he may need to wrestle in this fight as well. He has good timing on level changes. He'll push guys to the fence and get them down. At the UFC level, he's gotten a couple takedowns, but he hasn't really been able to hold anybody down. He did almost get the back of Steve Erceg, but ended up losing position. And when you look at him on bottom, he kind of just keeps his guard closed and tries to wait for a ref to stand him up. He does have some armbar victories, but those were very early in his career, and he hasn't gotten a submission win in over 5 years. Conditioning, I think, is on the side of Correa, but Costa, if he can control the pace with his power and calf kicks, I think he can win. And I really like this matchup. I think it's going to be a banger. Correa is a live dog because he has good timing. He can crack. But I think Costa is going to prioritize defense, movement. We've seen him finish two fighters with calf kicks in the UFC already, and I think he's going to use those really well. I lean Costa due to experience. Correa coming in on short notice, and I do think this fight ends inside the distance. So give me Costa, I'll say second round, KO, TKO. And the next fight we got on the card, Cedricus Dumas for Zach Reese. I mean, Zach Reese, the guy's a beast. He has good offense. He's huge for the weight class. He's powerful. Sick kicks. He'll throw some nasty leg kicks, body kicks, head kicks. Heavy punches too. Really nice hooks, uppercuts. Good blast double. If you take him down, he will submit you from bottom as well. So he's dangerous off his back. He's not that experienced though, so if you can extend the fight, he will start to slow down, make mistakes. Surviving the early barrage from Reese, pressuring in a punch range, defending his takedowns could be a path to beat him, and then maybe even trying to put him on his back, stay out of his guard, and just grind him out as well. But Reese proved he was a decent grappler in his fight with Dusko Todorovic because Todorovic had legit BJJ skills. And Reese got taken down, but he was able to reverse. He also hit his own takedowns. He did get knocked out cold in both losses to Bakov and Cody Brundage, so his chin is a little suspect. And then, I mean, you look at Dumas, the guy's hanging on to his job by a thread. He's 3-3 in the UFC, but his last fight got canceled because he couldn't get the ankle monitor off for his fight in time. And he's coming off a first-round knockout loss. I mean, the guy's life's in shambles right now, but he has $13 in his bank account, and his motivation has to be on an extreme high. He looked ripped, too, at the medio day, but, I mean, SD Dumas, he's one of the few fighters who can match Zach Reese in terms of height and reach. He actually has a 2-inch reach advantage. And on the feet, he's not technical, but he's wild and dangerous. Good pressure, he keeps his hands high, he can be hard to hit, but he'll throw uppercut shots up the middle. Good jabs, long straights. He'll kind of blitz forward. Dangerous head kick at distance. He's kind of just awkward on the feet. He throws some weird angles, but he's not like a technical guy. I think the kick could be an issue for Dumas, and we haven't really seen him fight a kicker yet in the UFC. He needs to wrestle here. He's good at getting double underhooks. He'll body lock guys. He kind of just rides them out. His double leg's actually pretty good too. And I think with Reese, that's a game plan he needs to really go with. He isn't that dangerous on top. He kind of just holds you down. He trains at Fusion XL, so he has good training partners to improve his grappling. Conditioning-wise, he always usually comes in pretty good shape. I actually think he has the edge there over Reese. So this fight honestly could go either way. I think it's a dog or pass, but I do feel like Reese has a pretty significant edge on the feet. His kicks are the difference, I believe. It could come down to which fighter gets the takedown first. If either guy can get on top, I think they can control. Dumas has to be careful with Reese's guard, though. I do think Reese sub round 1 is live. And Dumas also is kind of a quitter. When he gets hurt, he'll shell up. I think if Reese can hurt him early, he could take him out. Dumas is live just because I think he has a speed and length edge on the feet, and maybe he could wrestle. But Zach Reese is more powerful, explosive. He can use his kicks. He probably has better wrestling and grappling anyways. And I'm going to say Reese wins via first or second round stoppage. If I had the beliefs that Dumas was really doing the right things and prepared himself perfectly for this fight, maybe I would pick him to spring the upset. But in good conscience, I just got to go with Zach Reese here. So Zach Reese is my prediction in that fight. And up next here, we got Jesus Aguilar. He's taking on Luis Garuli. And really fun matchup. Luis Garuli kind of has his back against the wall here. At flyweight, going 0-2 to start your UFC career probably gets you cut. With Garuli, I think he would get a longer leash just because he's a Contender Series guy. And he's someone that trains at Factory X, which is a gym that the UFC is kind of synonymous with at this point. But he's taking on Jesus Aguilar, who's a good fighter, who's kind of overachieved in the UFC. He's won multiple fights as the underdog, and it doesn't look like he's going to be a big, powerful guy. Not big, but a powerful guy, but he is. And stylistically, I mean, on the feet, I think it's competitive, but I favor Gurley. I just think he's more technical. I think he's going to throw more volume. I like that he's going to mix in the kicks. And I think if Gurley can make this a stand-up fight and pressure and be aggressive, he's going to get the better of it. Aguilar's going to be there. He's going to show his Mexican toughness, but I think Gurley will be able to outpoint him on the feet. And as far as the wrestling and the grappling goes, I do think Aguilar will try to mix it up and get takedowns, but Gurley's takedown defense and scrambling ability is pretty solid. So I think he's going to be able to keep it standing, maybe even start to reverse, get on top himself, get some takedowns. Aguilar's someone that accepts being on his back. He'll get taken down, he'll jump guillotine, and if he gets the guillotine on Gurley like he's gotten on other guys, I mean, hey, that would be a great win for him. If he can land a big overhand and rock Gurley, get him out of there, then that's another way he can win. But I kind of think that Jesus is finish or bust, whereas I think Gurley could win by, honestly, knockout or decision. I don't know about submission, but I think Gurley has more paths to victory, and he's just the better, more technical fighter. So Luis Gurley, for me, is the pick in that matchup. And the next fight we got on the card here, Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos. Pretty easy fight to break down, I think. I think Tati, she's kind of at a buy low position, even though she's still like a minus 500 versus Lemos. And I get why people would take the shot on Lemos just because she's one of the few fighters where she could actually change the fight with one punch. She has the guillotine threat, so she can be losing and kind of snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, and not that many female fighters can do that. But, I mean, Suarez is going to get her down, man. I know some people are talking about Amanda Lemos' improved takedown defense, and her takedown defenses looked better, but Tatiana got Weili Zhang down pretty easily in the first two rounds, or at least in the first round, if I remember correctly. I can't remember now. She got her down in the second. But regardless, she's going to take down Lemos, and Lemos off her back just doesn't offer much of anything to me. I think she's going to stay risk-averse and not try to give up any opportunities to get submitted, which means she's just going to lay on her back after she's taken down. And I think Suarez either win a dominant decision, or if Lemos is aggressive trying to get back up, I could see Suarez finding the back, getting a choke, jumping on a guillotine, and getting a submission win. So regardless, I think Suarez is going to bounce back here and pick up the W. So give me Tatiana Suarez in that fight. And the next fight we got on the card, we got a lightweight battle between Claudio Puelles and Joaquin Silva. And you look at Claudio, I mean, the guy's had a strange UFC career. He got in the UFC through the Ultimate Fighter in 2016. So it's been almost 10 years that he's been signed to the promotion, but just has barely fought. After losing on the Ultimate Fighter finale, he didn't come back for like 2 years, and got a nice comeback win over Felipe Silva, but then took a long layoff after that victory. He did have some momentum where he won 2 fights in a row, but he took a long layoff after that. He came back. He won 3 fights in a row where he did have a nice run of activity, but after his loss to Hooker, he took a year off. Then he fought Farziam, lost again, took another year off. So he just hasn't been able to stay active, and it's really hindered his career. But style-wise, Puelles is a unique fighter because he's low volume on the feet. He really doesn't offer anything, but he has good speed. He'll throw some, jabs, maybe a straight out there to kind of disguise a level change, and then shoot right under it for the single. His takedowns are really fast, and he's good at using the single leg to come up into body locks. On top, he has solid pressure, ground and pound. He'll try to stay methodical. He's position over submission, but he will kind of jump on leg attacks, which he's good at. But his back takes are good as well. He got somewhat close to putting Ziam in an RNC. 3 knee bar victories. If you could shut down Puellas' wrestling, though, he really doesn't offer much. He'll start to try to pull guard. His conditioning, though, is pretty impressive. In his last fight, he got a lot of takedowns, even in round 3. In other fights, he's slowing down majorly. But you look at Neto BJJ, he may finally get his chance to prove why his nickname, Joaquin Silva, has the black. Why his nickname is Neto BJJ. He's preferred to try to take fighters' heads off on the feet, and he's been up and down primarily because he's had to fight really hard competition. But he's been in the UFC for over 10 years, and kind of like Puellas, he's had a lot of injuries and setbacks, so he hasn't been very active. But he last fought in May of 2024. He lost to Jakar close in that fight. And you look at Silva, this looks like a good matchup for him. I mean, he has great takedown defense. He has explosive striking. I think he's going to look to keep it standing, and he could use his leg kicks. He could time counter punches. And he's known for having some brutal power. He has some sweet knockout wins. I think he's going to have a pretty huge edge on the feet here. He can be low volume, so it could be boring for portions, but I think he should be able to make Puellas pay for looking to close the distance. And I could see a first-round knockout or even a first-round guillotine. I just think this is a match that favors Neto BJJ to me. He's more physical, powerful. He has better stand-up, better grappling, I feel like, overall. And I think he has the wrestling defense to keep it on the feet. He struggled versus super good wrestlers, but I just don't know if Puellas is on that level with the wrestling to get Silva down. Silva is 36 and coming off a layoff, whereas Puellas is 29, and he's looked improved off layoffs before, but from what I've seen, I just think Silva's the better fighter. And give me Joaquin Silva via second round KO TKO. Next fight on the card, we got Jose Medina taking on Dusko Todorovic. And, Medina, resident tough man of the UFC. Dana White clearly likes him. He's 0-3. He just got knocked out in March, but the UFC has given him a winnable fight here against another fighter on a 3-fight losing skid, and Dusko Todorovic. And it's pretty crazy to me that Dusko has been able to stick around in the UFC as long as he has. He actually had some hype when he signed to the UFC. He was one of the first Contender Series guys. He got his contract through the Contender Series in 2019. And he then won his first UFC fight. He was 10-0. Since then, though, he's got 2-6 in his 8 UFC fights since then. And he's lost 3 in a row. He hasn't won a fight since October 15, 2022. But Medina hasn't really shown anything in any of his UFC fights. The best thing he's done besides survive in Taun is he got a takedown versus Zach Reese. He was able to land a few punches on him. But on the feet, he doesn't really offer much. He'll wing big hooks, overhands. He could take a licking and keep on ticking, but he isn't a guy who could change the fight. It's not like he has the power. It's more like unless you gas out completely, he's just going to lose. But one thing to take into account is he was indestructible before his last fight. You could throw everything but the kitchen sink at him, and you couldn't shake his confidence. But now, man, after getting knocked out by Atiba Gaudier, he could be in that position where maybe he can't take a shot anymore. So I think we're going to have to see exactly how he returns. But Dusko, this guy's a grappler. His stand-up, it should be effective, Medina. He uses a lot of lateral footwork. He tries to bait guys in, use head movement, and then pull counter them with punches, kicks, or level changes. And he has decent wrestling on top. He will look to get into dominant half guard or full mount, pound fighters out. All 3 of his UFC wins are ground and pound wins, so when he gets the job done, it's usually on the ground. And his issues have been with loose defense, slowing down, and being put out cold. He's been knocked out 3 times, but he's going to be the faster fighter here. I think he has a major wrestling edge. I think he's going to be able to use his kicks. If Medina wins, it's just going to be because Todorovic totally gasses out or just gets clipped with something wild, but I don't really see it. Todorovic didn't look that bad versus Zach Reese. He was far more competitive versus Reese than Medina was. And this is a bum fight. Neither guy should honestly be in the UFC, but I think Todorovic at least has some UFC level skills, and Medina's just a tough guy. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get Medina out of there. Maybe if he can get a submission, but I'm going to say it goes to decision, and the winner is Dusko Todorovic. Next fight we got on the card here, we got Alexander Hernandez, and he's making a quick turnaround after his big upset victory over Diego Ferreira, and not over Diego Ferreira, over Chase Hooper, and now he's taking on CDF, who is making a return here, hasn't fought in a little while, but 40 years old and still looking better than ever. I mean, he's been in the UFC over a decade, but he's still kicking ass. He did lose his latest fight versus Grant Dawson. He just got wrestled, and the vast majority of his losses he's gotten taken down. And really the only non-wrestler who's beaten CDF in his entire UFC career is Dustin Poirier. On the feet, Ferreira has good timing. He might not have elite speed, but he's quick enough, and he throws really good lead hand offense. He cuts fighters off with the jabs, with the check hooks. He has some decent 3-2s, 1-2s, 2-1s. He usually throws loose and long punches. He doesn't really load up, but he has big power, good kicks as well. He'll throw hard front kicks, round kicks to all parts of the body. Grappling-wise, it doesn't really get much better than CDF. Extremely hard to control, amazing guard. If he can get his own takedowns, which his wrestling is serviceable, or reverse and get on top, he's super good at finding the finish. If he gets the back, he's going to get the choke here. And he's finished 7 of his 10 UFC wins, and he's been finishing 3 of his 6 losses. He's hard to take out, though. I mean, one of those losses was a injury stoppage, and cardio for CDF is normally on point. He's gotten tired in some really high-paced fights. He hasn't really been that active over the last few years, but he's someone that's proven himself as a high-level fighter. And you look at Alexander Hernandez, he's on a 4-fight win streak. He's looking to get past one of the best gatekeepers in the division and finally get over this hump that he's never been able to get over in his career. And Hernandez, he's going to need to use his speed, side-to-side movement. He can't just back up. He has to stay lateral, block the kicks of CDF, use feints to set up blitzes, go to the body, and then find that kill shot over the top like he did versus Chase Hooper. I don't see Hernandez wanting to tangle on the ground with CDF, even if he's on top. So I doubt he wrestles. I think he needs to look to keep this standing, extend his combinations, use feints to lead hand or even a stiff jab to set up the backhand, try to use switch stance blitzes. I went with Hernandez in his last fight. He came through for me, so that was awesome, but I think this fight, CDF wins. CDF is going to be smart early. I think he could take a shot. He should be able to make Hernandez blitz in on him a lot, use energy, because he's going to be kicking him at distance. And I think if Hernandez slows down, starts moving straight back or being more stationary, CDF is better in exchanges. I think his lead hand offense could intercept and hurt Hernandez. Hernandez also can't fall back on his wrestling here. I don't think because CDF's grappling is far superior. So give me CDF here. I think he wins inside the distance. So second round knockout for me is going to be the prediction, and I'm going to say Carlos Diego Ferreira gets the victory there. And next fight we got on the card, we got Quang Lee versus Santiago Luna. Really, really fun fight. I mean, if you watch Santiago Luna in MMA, he does mix in takedowns, but you would think this guy might be a boxer first because his hands are really nice. He throws nice combinations. He's very straight and fast with his punches. He has tight hooks. And he's only like 21 years old, but he actually had a really good wrestling background. He has a lot of amateur wrestling experience, and his wrestling is top-notch. But you look at him overall on the feet, he's very aggressive, big power, extends his combinations. He throws really nice long combinations. Pretty one-dimensional, though, in terms of he only looks to box. You don't really see him throw elbows, throw knees, throw kicks. But his boxing offense is pretty. And then on top of that, he could take you down and grind you out really easily. His wrestling is really good. He doesn't get tired. He has that Aaron Pico kind of thing going on about him, though, where he gets really aggressive and can get run into punches and things like that. And you don't want to see him at the UFC level against better guys make those mistakes because he could get knocked out. But he's shown durability to this point in his career. Quang Lee, though, this is a guy that is going to take advantage of opportunities like that. And Quang Bang Lee, you look at him, he's a striker that can mix it up and wrestle pretty well. He's a little older, he's 33, so taking on a really young guy here, he needs to use his experience to get the victory. And you look at him, Quang Lee, he likes to counter, really good hook counters, uppercut counters. He has solid big power, nice head kicks as well, which he could potentially catch Luna dipping or slipping with the head kick. But Lee also can struggle, though, versus fast guys that throw combinations, and that's where Luna comes in, and I think it could be effective. We saw that when he fought Zhao Long. And Lee will mix in takedowns. He has good back takes, but this fight, I don't think he's going to be able to out-wrestle, out-grapple Luna. So I think it's a close fight because I think Luna's inexperienced and reckless and on the feet. Quang Lee could take advantage of that, maybe catch him and get a knockout victory. But I think that Luna overall has more speed. He can use his combinations to get to his opponent here. And I think he can mix in takedowns. And I ultimately think he might be able to find a finish on Quang Lee eventually by using his wrestling to set up the striking in the later rounds. So I'll say Luna wins via second round knockout. And up next year, we got a veterans fight, and I think a do-or-die fight for Kelvin Gastelum. But Dustin Stoltzfus, the guy's a fun fighter to watch. He's a brawler. He has a chin. He has a pretty aggressive submission game. On the feet, he's not super fast, but he throws every strike with bad intentions. He has good kicks, good power punches. He throws counter hooks, overhands. He'll brawl it out in the pocket. He looks extremely strong on top. He has a lot of different submission wins. Good leg attacks. He can hit arm triangles, front chokes. He's even hit a twister in a fight before. And most of the time when he wins, Stoltzfus is getting a finish within 2 rounds. He can wrestle, he can control you, but we saw, like, for instance, in this fight with GM3, he wrestled for 2.5 rounds. He gassed out. He got finished. He gassed out after wrestling Bruno Ferreira. So sometimes he can get tired if he can't get you out of there within a reasonable amount of time. His fight with Marc-Andre Barriault, he got an early takedown. Barriault got back up to his feet. They just exchanged in a phone booth, and Dustin put him to sleep. So you don't want to brawl with Stoltzfus. The deficiencies in Stoltzfus' styles are just he struggles to close a distance because he lacks speed and he gets tired. In this fight, I think he's definitely going to look to use his size and his wrestling. On the feet, he's going to be at a speed disadvantage. He's not as skilled either. If Stoltzfus can get his big body on top of Kelvin, though, kind of wear on him, he could bank some minutes, maybe get Kelvin tired, find a submission, and then make the stand-up more competitive. Stoltzfus, I would say, is pretty competitive in his last fight as well with Nursultan Ruzaboev. He got close on some chokes in round 1. He had a ton of top control time. He jumped guillotine with 2 minutes of round 2, and that kind of costed him the round. But round 3 was super competitive. Dustin had a ton of top control time, and I feel like he could have maybe even given him that fight in the rounds. But he didn't do much with his control. He ended up losing a decision. But he's getting to fight one of the biggest names he's ever fought, though, even off of a loss in Kelvin Gastelum. And Kelvin Gastelum isn't a top fighter like he used to be, but he's still a name a lot of UFC fans know. He's a tough out. And a win would put Stoltzfus on a new level in the UFC to me. It would probably guarantee him a few more paydays. Kelvin Gastelum, he's reaching a milestone not many fighters can say they have on Saturday night. This is going to be his 25th walk to the octagon. And so far, he's 13-10-1 in 24 UFC fights. He's had high highs. He's had low lows. He lost his last fight to Joe Pyfer. Lost the first 2 rounds, came back in the third. He earned a couple victories. He has since coming back from his layoff in 2023, but he just hasn't looked the same. He beat Chris Curtis and Daniel Rodriguez, which are good fighters, but when he took that step up and he fought Joe Pyfer, he fought Sean Brady, he took the loss. if he can't beat someone like Dustin Stoltzfus, I think the juice might not be worth the squeeze for the UFC anymore. Kelvin, he got an undisclosed payout of $421,000 for his loss to Joe Pyfer. So he's getting close to champ money, and they have him in a fight of this level. That should kind of show you that a loss could definitely get Kelvin cut, but a win, he's going to be in a big fight next because it's just the way it works. But Kelvin Gastelum, he's going to have to get up for this fight because it's not going to be an easy one. He's going to need to keep this fight on the feet. On the ground, maybe he could have success, especially if Dustin's tired, but there's really no reason to even try to wrestle Dustin and give him a chance to grapple. Kelvin, he needs to use the stand-up in this one. Use his boxing. He's going to have that left hand that he can go to. He's going to be able to close distance, have faster combinations on the inside. I think that over time, he's going to be able to walk down and start to land more and more on Dustin Stoltzfus. I think going to the body is going to be a good thing to do. Feinting to open Stoltzfus up, maybe draw bad takedowns. So Dustin, I mean, if he could wrestle hard here, he could win. But on the feet, I don't think he has the finesse to compete. He's a heavy hitter. I mean, maybe he could slip a shot in, but Kelvin has a brick head. He just has looser hands, better feints, better combinations, better conditioning. Dustin maybe could have a takedown in the first, maybe control him for a round and a half, but I think that Kelvin more than likely doesn't get finished here by him on the ground. He could stay safe, he could get back up to his feet, and then probably win a decision. Kelvin hasn't finished a fight since 2017, so it's been a long time for that. I'll say Kelvin via decision. Next fight we got on the card, we got Rafa Garcia. He's going to be taking on Jared Gordon. And, I mean, you look at this fight, I actually like this fight from a stylistic perspective. I think both these guys are very good. You look at Jared Gordon, he has excellent conditioning, good pressure style, good lead hand. He'll use his jab to work inside. He'll throw punches and bunches, good straights. But he's also good at, like, when you're looking to circle off the cage or get out of the pocket, he'll loop punches, try to catch you as you're circling off. And he throws crazy volume. He's good at staying right in your face, hand fighting, blocking. He has limited head movement, but his defense isn't bad. Doesn't really waste a lot of energy, and he's able to stay right in front of you, block shots, and come back. If you can extend your combinations on Gordon, you can kind of land on him a little bit, so that's what you have to do, but it's easier said than done, especially when you're forced to move backwards. But Gordon, he hasn't really ever been like a big power guy, but recently he's gotten 2 knockouts in the first round. So his power has really looked like it's leveled up a little bit. And then he's always been durable, but he has been knocked out 3 times. Wrestling, grappling-wise, Gordon can wrestle. On top, he is pretty good. He has good control. He'll catch kicks. He looks for the single leg. Good top pressure, good black belt. He was able to shut down Thiago Moises' guard really early in their last fight, which was impressive. And this is a big fight for him because he hasn't won 2 fights in a row since 2021. He is a favorite here, so he needs to show up and get the job done. And Rafa Garcia is an all-rounder. I wouldn't say he is great at anything, but he's tough, he's durable, he can do it all. He'll mix it up, he has good fight IQ. He uses a long stance so he could slide in and out of range effectively. He'll pressure, he'll feint level changes. He uses his movement to slip and rip with overhands and hooks. In this fight, I think he's going to have to move backwards a lot. And if you could pressure Garcia, go legs, go body, you can land on him. You can open up big headshots. Garcia has been taken down with single legs too. And Gordon is going to look to mix it up. Garcia's serviceable wrestling, but he isn't going to take down or even try to take down Gordon, I don't think. And Gordon is going to need to pressure, try to stay in Garcia's face, use his durability and boxing edge. But Garcia needs to use the speed try to counter him as he comes in, maybe win the exchanges and then get out of range. Garcia is a good fighter. I feel like these guys are somewhat similar, but I just think Gordon is better. He's more skillful. He hits harder. He's more of a dog. He has better conditioning. Garcia's faster. I think he will be competitive, but I favor Gordon on the feet. I think that he can mix in takedowns, and I got Jared Gordon here. And up next here, we got one of my favorite fighters in the UFC, Rob Font. He's taking on David Martinez. And this is a short notice matchup for both guys. They're both supposed to fight on this card, but Rob Font, he was going to fight Chiwiwis. He was going to fight Raul Rosas Jr. And David Martinez, I believe, I can't remember exactly who he was going to fight, but he was going to fight like a way lower level guy. I think he was going to fight Quang Lee. So gigantic step up in competition for David Martinez. Is in only his second UFC fight. He's fighting one of the best bantamweights of all time. I think that Rob Font, I mean, the guy gets disrespected because he might not have beaten like the elite of the elite. He did beat like Marlon Moraes, Cody Garbrandt, a couple guys like that, but he's taken those key losses. But he's one of the best bantamweights ever, skills wise. Just some of his wins, his resume, he's incredible. He's an elite level fighter, been in the UFC since 2014, and still killing it. He's on a 2-fight win streak. He just beat John Matsumoto, who was 16-0. Before that, he got a big win over Kyler Phillips as well. But he has a hard fight ahead of him here with David Martinez, who's on a long win streak. He hasn't lost a fight since 2021. He's won 8 fights in a row, and only 1-0 in the UFC, and it was a quick first-round knockout, but he looks impressive, and obviously the UFC sees something in him to give him a name like Rob Font in a co-main event spot so early in his fight career. But it's a hard fight to really break down. You look at David Martinez, he hasn't fought very often recently. He fought one time a year since 2023. I mean, he fought once in 2023. He fought once in 2024. He's fought once so far this year. Even in 2022, he only fought twice. So he just hasn't been that active. He actually had his first fight in 2016 as well. So he's been pro for a long time, but now is just kind of like his opportunity to get going and start to have fights in succession, it seems like. Whereas Rob Font, I mean, this guy has been fighting the cream of the crop. He's been active and staying busy for years and years. And from a stylistic perspective, I mean, David Martinez, the guy is a striker, which Rob Font is going to be salivating at that. He was going to fight Raul Rosas Jr. He was going to be on his legs the whole fight. Now he's getting someone that's going to want to keep it standing with him and give him the matchup that he wants. But Martinez is a much different striker than Rob Font. He's a karate, taekwondo guy. He likes to use a lot of side-to-side footwork, bounce around on the outside. He throws a lot of really hard calf kicks, good blitzes, nice counter punches, mostly single shots. And he has elite power where he doesn't need much. He could pull you into 1 or 2 strikes. He could put you out. He also has that kicking game, so he could throw a nice plethora of kicks, even though in this fight I don't see him kicking because Rob Font's going to be on his ass. But you look at him, he's going to be looking to just throw calf kicks, I feel like. I don't see his body kicks, head kicks really working unless he makes Rob Font more stationary and not pressuring him as much, and then he can get it off. But calf kicks, movement, minimizing the exchanges, staying his back off the cage, that's going to be what David Martinez needs to do. He needs to pot shot and damage Rob Font early, make Rob Font's pressure not be as impactful in the later rounds, and then just kind of skirt around and pot shot him, I think, for 3 rounds. Because he's not going to take him down, and he's definitely not going to outbox him. You look at Rob Font, the guy has some of the best pressure in the sport, one of the best jabs in the sport, and he just comes forward. He throws really good boxing combinations on the inside. He goes body, he goes head. He uses the jab to set everything up. He's very high volume. He has underrated power. And I just don't know if is Martinez going to really be able to deal with that jab and deal with the boxing in his face. He's going to be the shorter, less rangy guy, Martinez. Font has always been someone with a long reach. And Martinez isn't going to be able to take him down. And I think a wrinkle for Rob Font is Rob Font should take Martinez down. He's been training to wrestle Raul Rosas Jr. for this full camp. And David Martinez has been taken down in the past, or at least controlled against the cage. If Rob Font could surprise him, mix it up, maybe he could take his back and win around in that manner, be able to get some control time and slow David Martinez down a little bit. And I just got to go with the Rob here, man. I feel like you can't pick Martinez when he hasn't beaten anybody. He doesn't have the main kryptonite for Rob Font, which is the wrestling. He has power. He has good technical striking. I'm not saying he has no shot. He's actually really good. He's skilled. So I think he is viable, but I just think Rob Font, he has some of the best boxing in the entire sport, not just bantamweight. He has elite level experience. He's going to bring the cardio. He's going to push David Martinez. We don't know how Martinez is going to look in the later rounds against someone that's putting damage on him. And I think Rob Font could even mix in some wrestling potentially. So just give me Rob Font here for the win. I don't know if he's going to finish him or it's a decision, but I think Rob Font gets the job done in that matchup. And main event time, we got Diego Lopez taking on Gene Silva. Amazing fight. Two of the best action fighters in the sport right now. Two of the most violent guys in the sport right now. The build up to this fight, it's been somewhat respectful, but there's still trash talk. So there's a little bit of tension on this one, and it's just a fight I'm really looking forward to watching. But Diego Lopez, he had his meteoric rise. It went all the way to a title shot when he got to fight Volkanovski for the belt in his last fight and came up short there. It was competitive, but Volkanovski kind of clearly outpointed him and got the victory. And he's taken on a streaking fighter in Gene Silva, who's taken a big step up in competition here, though. I mean, he's been fighting good fighters, but I wouldn't say the cream of the crop. Like, Bryce Mitchell is definitely high level, but Melsik Baghdasaryan, Charles Jourdain, Drew Dober, I mean, these guys are more kind of like middling than anything else. But Silva looks super fun to watch when he's been in there. He's been able to get these guys out of there, finish them pretty easily, and just look fairly dominant in every fight. So he is the favorite coming in here against Diego Lopez, even though Lopez has beaten higher level opponents. He just fought a title fight. So it's interesting, but I think Diego Lopez, you look at him from stylist perspective in this fight, he has to be much more patient. He can't drop his hands and throw wide punches and blitz in because he has a tendency to do that. And Gene Silva is one of the best counter fighters in the sport with great timing. So he's going to be looking to snipe him with a straight right, with a counter elbow. Whenever Diego opens up and tries to close the distance like that, Diego needs to stay with that high guard, effective pressure, calf kicks, front kicks to the body maybe. Be very kick heavy, I think, in the first 2.5 rounds. And try to just slow down the movement of Gene Silva. Maybe attack his body with punches as well. And then when Silva slows down more, his timing and his counters might not come as fast. Then you could start to open up with the hands, try to close the distance on Gene, get him in the clinch, make it more of a dirty fight, go elbows, go knees, go those short uppercuts that Diego's really good at. So I think for Diego, early on, it's about patience, chipping away with the calf kicks, with the body attack. And then when Gene Silva is a little less dangerous, then waning into the fire, making it a wild dog fight, because Gene Silva, he wants to use his elite power and timing to make it a finesse battle. Diego has to get inside, clinch him, uppercuts, knees, take one to give one, and just make it a really grimy battle. And that's where maybe Gene Silva might show some holes there. And if he can get Gene Silva on his back, or even if Gene Silva goes in his guard, we know exactly how good Diego Lopez is on the mat. He's incredible there, but Gene Silva has shown amazing takedown defense. Diego's not a wrestler. I don't think he's going to take him down unless he drops him or something. It's probably going to be a stand-up battle. You look at Gene Silva, the guy is huge for 145. He's missed weight before, but he's dialed that in now. And he's just an incredible athlete. He has great footwork. His ability to move in and out of range is exceptional. He is super patient. He's good at kind of just blocking, letting you get your energy out, finding his reads early, kind of taunting you, making you uncomfortable because even when you're landing shots, it doesn't seem like you're affecting him. And when he sees you slow down even one iota, he's on you. He's going to be able to get in your face, pull counter you, come with the 3-2s, 1-2s, 2-1 counters, the big right hand. His kicks are nasty, hard leg kicks, round kicks, front kicks, body head. He has short range power. He can knock you out inside with one shot. And he just has patience and ability to time his shots really well. Seems like he stays very calm in the fire. His conditioning is held up really well. And when people try to take him down, he's really good at making them pay with knees, with the elbows, jumping on guillotines and things like that. And he looks really good overall. And I just feel like Diego, he has a chance here if he fights really smart, because I think the calf kicks will be there for him. And I do think that if he can get into the later rounds and start mucking it up, he might be able to find something that connects and could help him win the fight. But I just feel like ultimately he's too reckless, and I think that Gene is going to snipe him a few times. He's going to be very powerful, probably damage Diego a little bit. I don't know if he'll be able to finish Diego. I think that this fight going to the distance might be a decent bet just because it's like plus 200 and both these guys are dogs. But I'm leaning towards the favorite, Gene Silva. I do think the line's wide. I mean, him being plus 250, I do think the value is probably on Diego Lopez. But as a pure prediction, I'm going to say Gene Silva wins via decision. I think he can get a couple knockdowns. I think he can be able to be fairly dominant. Maybe the later rounds will be less volume, but I think he's going to have done enough damage to Diego that he'll be able to control it. So, yeah, give me Gene Silva via decision, and that is the prediction for me in that fight. So, there you have it, guys. Full card prediction and breakdown video for UFC Noche, Lopez versus Gene Silva. Hopefully you learned it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I am going to be back at, I believe, like 9:30 p.m. Pacific time today, doing a live stream with Fitz, with Billy Briz. So, come through, check that out, get in the chat. Ask me some questions. We'll give you some free bets, things like that. And as far as the parlay of the week for this card, I would say do a parlay with Dusko Todorovic and Tatiana Suarez. I don't really like parlays on this card, honestly. I like CDF. I think that Rendon was a good underdog in the past. Now the line's come way down. I still kind of like her even at dog price at all. I think Garuli's a decent favorite to pick. Like, if I give you guys a more value parlay, I would say Garuli and Jared Gordon. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Peace out.